Okay, now who is the other party in this?
Sorry. Oh, I feel incredibly vulnerable about this. This is don't know how to define her, my lover, I guess.
Okay.
Has been. There's been, well, anyway, but
So,
anyway,
talk
friend,
directly
lover.
to her. Let's hear the message that you started the day with. What is my message to you that's hard to deal with?
What is my message?
The one that I asked to begin this whole dialogue. The hard to hear message. The please that's not easy to hear is a please.
That it's not easy for her to hear,
No,
or it's easy for me to hear.
What does this person say that's not easy for you to hear with giraffe ears?
Well, it's more what she hasn't said.
What hasn't this person said?
What's going on? What's been going on? So we were living together, and there was a clearly
So let's
expressed.
just talk to her
Oh,
now.
okay.
Let's just talk to her now. You see, just then you started off. What do you want to say to her? Speak in giraffe as best you can to start off. So what do you want
Okay.
to say to her?
I feel a lot of pain and sadness that you haven't let me know what's happened.
Now, if you want to
what's been going on with
if
you?
you want to bring the other person into it,
Yeah.
start with when you.
Oh, okay.
But after you get the pain, I feel pain, and now you say that you.
That won't work.
It's going to be
Okay.
very hard for the person not to hear that they're being blamed for it. You see, once our feelings are on the table, we want to connect our feelings with the speed of light, with our needs.
Okay.
And once our needs are on the table, with the speed of light, a present request. Everything else that gets in the way between the feeling and the need, going to reduce the likelihood will be understood. Everything else that gets in the way between the need and the present request is going to reduce the likelihood. So if we want to make an observation, I would recommend starting with it before you get to the feelings.
Okay, I'll try. It feels difficult to get from what seems like a distillation of a story to the essence.
Yes, and that's good practice for us all, because most of the stories we tell get in the way of our getting what we want.
Right.
Especially if we want understanding for our present pain and we think we have to tell our listener what happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we get to the present pain, they're asleep.
Yes.
We don't need to talk about what happened. We need to talk about what's alive in us right now about what happened. That's where the healing takes place. That's where the connection takes place. So the fewer words for the observation, the better.
Mm-hmm.
The real focus of the message needs to be what's alive in us right now, our present feelings and needs.
When you avoid...
That's a diagnosis.
Oh, got it. Oh, my God. When you... Oh.
Maybe an accurate diagnosis, but it's a diagnosis.
Well, the experience I'm having is...
Now, what is my behavior?
What's your behavior?
Yes, that you're interpreting as avoidance.
When you don't address...
when you don't tell me.
When you don't tell me why you're not following through on agreements
Now they got it.
from
Now
the
that's
past,
now,
or
if you-
intentions that
Now,
you've
if you want
stated.
now, if you want to make life miserable for yourself, you'll
Yeah.
document that by showing several times I
Right,
did.
I'm not.
I would not recommend it.
Okay.
I think that that's more than enough talking about the other person.
Okay.
Now what we want to do is get to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
Now we want to go in your heart and say how you feel right now about that. What needs of yours are not met and your present request. We've used about 8 of the 40 words.
Okay.
Now to our present feelings and needs.
I feel hurt
Yep.
and not valued.
Oh!
No? I feel hurt.
That's how you are interpreting
Oh,
this,
okay.
that
I
the
feel
person
hurt
doesn't value
and
you.
abandoned.
Oh!
I feel hurt and just feel hurt, huh? Okay, I feel hurt.
Well,
Okay.
now if
Thanks.
you're conscious, you'll see that 90% of your pain
Mhm.
is not because your need isn't getting met in this situation.
Mhm.
It's because you're interpreting it that you're not valued and you're being abandoned.
Mm.
See, most of our pain in a situation like this is not at the loss of our need not getting met. It's created by our images of what is going on.
Well,
So
actually,
if you carry an image of not being valued and being abandoned, you're going to really suffer.
I'm actually not feeling it. It was more like a thought left over.
Okay.
So I
Well,
feel
then
hurt.
let's not get it in there, because
Okay.
when these are not left over but they are present, I'm saying they create more pain for us.
Right.
And doubly the problem, if they say them out loud, the other person is likely to hear that as a criticism, and we're going to get further from getting our need met. So let's erase abandoned,
Okay.
not valued. Let's stay with the hurt.
Okay.
And now, with the speed of light, connect that with an unmet need.
I think I have to start from the beginning again.
Okay?
When you don't follow through,
When you don't
Wh-
do
wh-
what you
when
say
when you don't do what you said you
do.
you would do
Okay.
with regards to our relationship,
Yes.
I feel hurt.
Yeah.
And what I want,
Because I'm
Oh,
needing.
oh,
Don't go to
oh.
the request until you get the
Because-
unmet need.
because I need connection, trust. Yeah, that is right.
I need
Trust.
trust.
And,
Okay. I need to trust that things will be done when people say. Okay. And now to a present request, with the speed of light to the present request.
and what I'd like is
Yes.
for you to follow through on
That's
what-
general and future.
what I'd
It
like-
needs to be a clear present request. That's a vague future request. I'd like you to follow through.
I'd
when
like you
say-
to let me know what happened. Well,
That's a future thing.
clear. There's a lot that's come up,
Yeah,
but
that's
she's not shared with me what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
So
but
what I'd
what's your
like,
present request?
I'd like to know what's going on inside of
Now
you.
we're getting there. Now we're getting
I'd like to
there.
know what's
So
going on inside of you.
we gotta get
Your
even more
feelings.
specific.
What you're feeling.
I'd like you to tell me, what do you want this person to tell you right now?
Where you're at, how you're feeling,
But those are two different things. Where you're at could take 4 hours and not give you the information
how you're
you want.
feeling
Okay.
about your previous commitments.
About the agreements that we made?
Yeah, about the agreements we made. Good.
That's the 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, what would be a challenging reaction for you to get at this moment from the person? That would be a good test for your giraffe ears.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think if I was that clear, it might not be too giraffe-y. But I maybe some, I don't know what I feel.
I don't know. Okay, that's a good one. That's a real good one. I don't know. And of course, we know from the tone of voice that the person didn't hear you. See, if a person hears what's in our heart, you will feel from the tone of their voice and the look in their eyes that they just received a precious gift.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't sound like this person received a precious gift. I don't know. So we know they didn't hear us. Anytime the look in the other person's eyes are not the look of a little child receiving a gift from Santa Claus, we know they didn't hear us. If we've spoken pure giraffe, we will see in the other person's eyes the eyes of a child receiving a gift from Santa Claus. If they look like this, they're hearing a demand. If they look like this, they've heard a criticism. I don't know.
So, can I, no, not can I, I'd like to ask you to tell me what you think I said so I can tell if I made myself clear.
You said I didn't honor our commitments.
Yeah. I did.
Well, you did say that, but that isn't the main part you wanted her to hear.
Right.
See, if the person just hears that, then they
Right.
hear criticism.
So
the real important part, that's why I say the focus of our message, the part that needs to be the focal part of the whole thing, are the feelings and needs. If the person is not connected at that level, you're not going to get what you want for reasons that you want.
So
it's that part which gives us power with people. When they see what's in our heart, that increases the likelihood that if they do what we ask, it'll be coming out of the energy that we want it to come out of. If they just hear the request, they don't see what's in our heart. They may be giving in, giving up, giving out of fear of punishment. So this person heard just your observation, that they didn't do what they said they were going to do.
I also said, I also would like you to hear that what I really need, I'm sad because I need to feel connected with you, and I want to know how you're feeling about that.
Well, I'm sorry if I hurt you.
And
now you'll pay for it, see, until we clean that up. Because if the other person feels responsible for our feelings, we will soon be the biggest drag in the world for that person. It'll be more fun for them to be with a serial killer than us.
So how do I do that exactly?
Well, you need to point out that she didn't hear what you said. So let's learn how to correct a jackal's misunderstanding. First of all, we do not want to say, that isn't what I said. We do not want to say, you're misinterpreting me. We do not want to say, no. What do we say? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, because the person did what you asked. She told you. You didn't say, I want you to tell me what you heard me say and get it right, sucker. You didn't say that. You said, I'd like you
tell me what you
to tell me what you heard so I can see if I made myself clear. So she told you. She's hearing you blaming, guilt tripping her by telling her that she's making you feel sad or hurt. So she's apologizing. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry if I made you feel sad. So you need to say, thank you for telling me that's what you heard. I'd like you to hear a difference between what your stupid jackal ears heard and what my giraffe tongue said.
You don't want me to say it like that.
Yes, I want you to say it.
Okay.
But I'm not sure it would be the best for you to say it then.
Maybe I need to just be willing to hear it inside and talk to myself for a minute.
What we need to do is just be aware of how frustrating it is for us when our messages aren't understood. And give ourselves some empathy for that, so when we do say, I'd like you to hear it differently, it doesn't come from that energy.
Well,
it really comes from, thank you for giving me this chance to be clear. But I'd like you to hear a difference between my saying you're responsible for my feelings or you made me sad. And just that the main thing I need you to hear is what need of mine isn't being met. See, that's the main thing I need you to hear, that the need for connection. So could you tell me that part? So it's mainly you want me to hear your need for connection isn't getting met. Thank you for hearing that. Okay. So now what do you want from the jackal? The jackal's understood you. Now what do you want?
What I want is to know how you're feeling about the commitments you made in our relationship.
I feel that you're too demanding.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, if you had giraffe ears on, you wouldn't have heard that. Did you hear that she said that you were too demanding?
I did.
You got your giraffe ears on
okay,
too late.
So say it again. I'm going to try to listen with giraffe ears, see if I hear something else.
I feel that you're too demanding.
Are you feeling a little uncomfortable with me asking this question?
Nope, not with that. See, that's
Oh.
still the same variation.
Oh.
Still taking responsibility for the other person's feelings. You see, that's still implying that you are causing the other person's feelings.
Okay.
It's not good for the other person for you to reinforce that, because the whole culture in which they've been educated in reinforces the idea that other people can make you feel as you do.
Yes.
So you don't want to reinforce that. That's violent for everybody, to believe that you can make another person feel as they do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try it again. Are you feeling uncomfortable because? Why?
Are you feeling uncomfortable because I asked you? Oh no. Wait, are you feeling uncomfortable because... So I can't say I. Okay,
No.
that's pretty clear.
Never connect yourself with the other person's pain.
Are you feeling uncomfortable because you need my need because...
No, the other person's.
The other person.
Because you're needing.
Because you're needing... Wait a sec. Autonomy sounds more right than anything anybody else is saying. Because you're needing... But you're wrong. Do I go right away there to there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Even if you don't do it out loud, that's all you hear are feelings and needs with giraffe ears on. You never hear what another person thinks about you. You'll live longer.
I'm just not sure what she's needing.
We don't have to be sure. Even if you guess wrong, better to guess wrong what the person is needing than to hear what they think about you.
Well, are you feeling oh my gosh. When you no, I don't want to say I. Gosh, this is what happens to me. I just feel completely
Look what's
paralyzed.
happening to me.
Oh, it's like this every time I'm like in the jaws.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I just feel so like devastated.
Yeah, it's very painful when you get caught up in that and don't know how to get out of that. Yeah. You'd really like to be able to connect without having to go through this.
It's torture, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's, to give you a little different kind of practice, let me use some modern veterinary science and graft some giraffe ears onto this jackal. Okay, now you don't have to worry about giraffe. I've got the giraffe ears on. I'll do the giraffe work. So very often this happens in our relationship to you, and you'd like me to see how painful it is when you get caught up in what I say and lose connection with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see how I react to that, and it gets us further apart, and it's even more painful for you.
Yeah, and I feel really scared when you get angry and defensive and reactivated.
Yeah, you get scared. You'd like to be able to connect with what's alive in me at that point, and at that moment you're just overwhelmed by the feelings, and and real sad, because you really want to have that ability to connect with me, no matter how I'm communicating.
More than anything in the world, our relationship is really important to me, and I'm so frustrated that this is so difficult for me and for us.
So when you want something so much, to not be able to connect in a way that makes it happen, it just is it's a very painful feeling.
A deep, yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like a suffering for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like it's been so frustrating to have worked so hard, and I still don't feel like I have the skills or something that I need in order to effectively connect with you and not fall into this kind of place of collapse.
Yeah. So as much work and energy and hope as you've put into trying to break out of this, it's discouraging, and you'd really like to have more results by now.
Yeah. I feel like there's something wrong with me that I can't do this.
Yeah, you get discouraged with yourself. You really want to understand what keeps you from being able to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, there must be something I'm just not seeing. I don't think there's really something wrong with me, but somehow...
But you would really like to learn from this. What's keeping me from doing this?
Yeah.
It's frustrating not to see what's keeping me from doing this.
Exactly.
As much as I want it, it's very frustrating, despairing even at times, to not be able to make the connection that will get you the intimacy that you need.
Exactly.
Yeah. You like me when I wear these ears, don't you?
A lot better. And I have the feeling that, you want the same thing with me, and it would make you very happy if I could show up with giraffe ears.
Well, can you hear me now, or do you want me to hear you more?
No, I would like to hear that, what you have to say.
First, I'm very touched that you for that empathy. Yes, because I have almost word for word the same feelings that you just expressed, that I desperately want a certain quality of connection. And I, too, wish that I knew how to act to make that connection. And I wish, especially when I need empathy, I communicated differently than I do. Instead of saying the things that I do about when I'm angry, I wish I knew how to say those same things in terms of the pain that I'm really feeling behind those judgments of you. And I wish I knew how to say what my needs are at that time. And I take responsibility for how I say things. Certainly would put a test of anybody's giraffe ears to hear it.
Wow. I feel very touched for you to tell me that. Yeah. It's been really painful. It's been so painful. And I really didn't know you felt that way.
Yeah.
You get so angry and frustrated and blame me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're so adamant about feeling like you don't think you should have to change anything.
Yes, yes. The more my inner jackals tell me there's something wrong with me, the more I resist that and deny any responsibility. My inner jackals are brutal with me.
I can hear that.
And then when anybody else suggests that I get changed, then I am adamant about not wanting to hear that. It's hard to deal with hearing outer jackals when your inner jackals are making demands on you.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding you, Jackal, what I said this morning is really what you're trying to say, that when you are trying your best to say please and have the most desperate need for empathy with what's going on in you, it's coming out in a way that is very easy for other people to hear as an attack. Exactly. Exactly. And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. When I'm needing empathy the most, I communicate in a way I can't see how anybody could give it to me. Well, I'd like to see if I can do it, Jackal. Would you give me some test of my giraffe ears? I'd like to see you at your jackal worst and see if I can hear the pain behind it. Oh, yeah, it'd be fun for me. Okay. So now you're the jackal.
I'm the jackal.
And I'm you, and I'm going to really try to put the giraffe ears on when you need it the most. But it's the hardest to do.
Well, wait a minute. Am I me or her?
You're her.
I'm her
At
her
her
jackal.
at her most jackalish self.
Okay.
And I'm going to test whether I can wear these ears under those circumstances.
All
When
right.
the jackal needs me to do it the most. Where's my seatbelt?
You're always trying to change me. And manipulate me. And control me.
Here's what's going on inside of me now. My jackals are going crazy. You know why? This is the extreme test of giraffe ears. She's telling me that I am what I've always feared I might be. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this jackal really knows how to give my giraffe ears a test. She's telling me that I am what I've always feared I might be. Now, if these damn things are worth anything, they should work under these conditions. But it's the ultimate test of quality level giraffe ears. Whether they work when the other person is telling you what you are, what you've always feared you might be. Because then you're hearing a jackal message out there. It's saying the same thing as your inner jackal message. So, yeah, I'm having to do some emergency first aid work here. Put these ears on inward. Oh, my God. Oof, I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm judging myself. Why am I such a controlling, horrible person? What's wrong with me? I can't even imagine what I'm feeling and needing behind this. All I can hear, I'm a terrible, controlling person. What's beneath that? What is my need beneath that, judging myself that way? Yes, I really would like to express my pain in a way that doesn't feel oppressive to others. I really would like to be able to express myself in a way that others didn't stimulate this image that I'm controlling. It didn't threaten their autonomy. Now maybe I can hear her feelings. So it sounds like it's really aggravating for you that you would like to be able to express yourself and trust that you'll be understood and your needs will be understood. And you don't always have that trust?
You never do that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to trust you.
Yeah. So you really would like to be understood, and you're feeling kind of hopeless about whether you can get that need met.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell me, Jackal, while I have these giraffe ears on?
You're always running life out of your agenda. And I can't stand it.
Yeah. Yeah. You really want to feel like what's alive in you is valued, and that you're not having to adjust yourself to someone else's needs or standards.
Yep. And
Mm-hmm.
more than anything, I want you to get outside of yourself and have some compassion for what I'm going through.
Yeah. So you're in an enormous amount of pain right now, and it's when you really need this understanding the most that it's hard for you to deal with what's going on in someone else. You really need the empathy yourself.
Yeah. And I haven't been talking to you because you can't give that to me.
So you're feeling hopeless about getting that in our relationship, and you want to protect yourself from the continuing frustration and pain of trying for it and not getting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I'm still here.
Yeah. So there's
I
still
just haven't known what to do, so.
So you're stuck. There's still a part of you that's hoping we can connect in a way that's valuable to both of us, but you're feeling more and more discouraged about that.
I do feel hopeless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there more you would like me to hear, Jack?
I wish I didn't feel so hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I didn't hurt you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I
When
guess
you see me in pain, you feel in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm to blame.
You'd like to really contribute to my well-being, and it's very painful for you when you see me in pain.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm to blame.
Yeah, yeah. You'd like to be able to connect with me at that time in a way that's nurturing for us both, rather than blaming yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a chorus of jackals in my head when I see you in pain, and
Yeah.
I can't even stand to be with myself,
Yeah.
and so I get angry at you,
Yeah.
and I scream at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really because they're all screaming at me, and I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I never saw that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am glad that you asked me to talk with you. Even though I still feel a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's a little bit of a sense, more of a sense of connection and a glimmer
Yeah.
that maybe it would be possible to really be able to connect.
Yeah.
And that feeling like you're hearing me right now, and I feel just as desperate for you to hear me and to have compassion for me as I think I hear you saying you want from me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I still feel kind of overwhelmed, like this
Yeah.
feels like a big task, and I
Yeah.
feel like I just like crawled one little step.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big cry from running a marathon. Which is kind of what it feels like it'll take to be able to have good communication ongoingly between us.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear how I feel about this, Jackal, right now, or do you want some more empathy from me?
If I told you the truth,
Yeah.
I'm hurting so much about this.
Yeah.
I guess I'd like you to hear that.
Yeah. I'm grateful for your honesty. So you're still needing more awareness of just how painful this combination is for you.
Yeah, and I know I act really tough, like cool, like this isn't bothering me. But I just don't know anything else to do when I feel so overwhelmed and frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess I want you to know that.
Yeah. You'd like me to be aware that you're aware that you express it sometimes in a way that might be hard to hear, but you still need empathy at those times, and how painful it is for you, and you don't know how to express it differently, or you don't get the empathy you need. It's very discouraging for you.
I think I noticed that. I feel ashamed of my needs, like I can't ask you to give me empathy in a way that makes it easy for you to do it, because I don't really believe I deserve it, and I don't really also trust that you can do it.
So when you do have such a need, part of you worries that even if you ask for it, you wouldn't really get it. And another part of you is pretty brutal with yourself, saying you shouldn't even have the need. And so then you don't ask for it, your pain builds, and then it comes out in a way that makes matters worse, and it's even more painful.
Yeah. I can see that I've been so angry because I haven't felt okay about this need. I have really.
Yeah. That's the big insight for you right now that's important, is awareness of how you're not able to see your own needs as a gift.
Wow. It's even a little hard to take that in.
Yeah.
Just the concept.
It's scary to go from thinking you shouldn't even have them, it's disgraceful, to imagining it as a precious gift to somebody.
Yeah. Well, I feel very vulnerable about having these needs, especially with you.
Yeah.
I feel really more vulnerable with you than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And terrified of you seeing that, because then you could control me.
Yeah. So being that vulnerable, you're really scared. It puts you in a position of worrying about how this could be used against you, and you could be controlled with it.
You have used it against me.
Yeah. You're remembering in the past. Your memory now leaves you with more fears and wanting to be sure that this doesn't happen again.
It's really scary just to even let you know this.
Yeah.
It's a huge risk for me.
It's scary for you to let me know what's alive in you.
Yep. And I notice I'm feeling angry now. I want to attack you and
You want me to
blame
understand. You want me to understand what's happened in the past that contributes to your fear.
Yeah.
You want me to see how my behavior has stimulated this and played a role in it.
Yeah, and I also want you to hear how sensitive I am about this.
That's the main thing, how scary it is for you to be talking with me at this level.
Yeah, to show my vulnerability, to have any needs, yeah. To let you know. Yeah.
Okay.
I really felt like I was able to
hear her heart a lot.
I thought the way you
Deeper.
played her role, I thought you were really empathizing with her. Yeah. Yep.
And
You had the giraffe ears on, it seemed to me, and
yeah.
played her role with giraffe ears on.
And I think the thing that I saw that had kept me stuck was when she'd get angry, I felt so terrified, and I didn't trust that there was someone who cared under the anger.
Yep.
And I felt what was deeper. And my only fear right now is that trusting that when I try to talk to her, that I still won't get scared by anger or make any mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
And
So let's see.
Something changed when you put this on.
Why should I talk to you? All you do is try to control me. All you do is have your agenda. Nobody else's agenda matters a damn.
Are you feeling like?
Nope.
Oh no.
Not are you feeling like or that. You'll be
Okay.
hearing what comes out of the person's head.
Okay.
Never hear what the person thinks.
Do I hear you? I feel like I hear you wanting me to really hear you.
Yes, I'd like, for once, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful if for one time you could hear me. Give up your agenda for even 1 second.
You want me to care about what's going on with you and have
But
some
you can't.
compassion.
You can't. You couldn't if you tried.
Are you hurting from I don't know how to get from here to there. It feels like you're hurting, and you really need for me to hear how painful it is
Yes.
that
yes,
I haven't
yes, yes,
heard you in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're getting
Priceless.
Question about the model.
Yes.
I was deeply touched, first of all, by seeing the power of the empathy that my need to know that it really has that power.
Let's pass this around.
But at the same time, I had a sort of a technical question, which is thinking about feeling, need, request.
Mhm.
As I was listening to you give the empathy, the request was always, I guess, implicit, like, have I got it right? Or, you know, and I was wondering about
You mean when I was empathizing?
Yeah, is the request...
You know, when I'm empathizing with another person's pain, I assume that the present request is always for me to react to what they're saying in a way that they feel a connection at the heart level. I guess as to whether that would be best done verbally or silently. But I don't deal with the request yet, not when the other person's in pain, not until they're finished with the empathy.
That's their request.
It's their request, with
there's
my
no-
request.
But there's no... When you're empathizing,
When I'm empathizing with them,
yeah, is there any request that you're having inside other than have I
the
got it
only
right?
request is am I connected with you to your satisfaction?
Yes.
It's either I say it verbally or it's in the form of a question, just a tone of voice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I noticed at one point you responded to her when you were the giraffe earlier by saying something like, you want me to know that my behavior in the past has contributed to your pain. So something like that.
It was a
Stimulated.
stimulus. Contributed but didn't cause. See,
Yeah.
it's a stimulus.
That was my question. In my mind, that's always a slippery slope in this kind of
It's
dialogue.
a very slippery slope. The main thing is that I be conscious that I'm never the cause of the other person's pain, but I do want to take responsibility for my behavior. See, I'm responsible for what I did. The other person's responsible for how they took it.
Okay.
And that's a slippery thing, and it's a very important thing to keep that consciousness of what we are responsible for and what we cannot be responsible for. The very word responsible means response-able, able to respond. So I cannot take responsibility for something over which I have no control. So I cannot control how the other person takes what I do, which will affect how they feel. So I'm not responsible for that. But I am responsible for what I did.
And if she were wanting in that moment for you to, in some way, acknowledge that what you did, if she persisted in kind of trying to get you to say you're sorry or acknowledge that you did something to hurt me or whatever.
I want you to acknowledge that, you're responsible for my pain. Yeah. So you'd like some understanding for how painful this has been for you. More than that, I want you to see how you are responsible for it. Yes. You would like me to acknowledge that my behavior stimulated what happened, was the stimulus for what happened.
Okay.
Yes. No, I want you to see that you're the cause of my feelings.
You hurt me.
You hurt me. Yes. You want me to see the role that my behavior played in your feeling hurt.
Okay.
I'm willing to see it. It was a stimulus, but and you see, once I have this clear, I will never have to say, I'm not the cause of your feeling. I'm not responsible. See, I'm only saying that when I'm just getting this myself and I'm becoming conscious of how much of my life I've been tyrannized by other people's feelings. And so when we're breaking out of that prison, then you hear a person going through a stage I call emotionally obnoxious. You see, emotional slavery is when they feel responsible for other people's feelings. And then when they start to get a glimmer of how much of their life they're not leading by feeling responsible for others, they get this freedom. And then somebody else says, I'm frustrated that you didn't... Well, I'm not responsible for your feelings. Well...
What if you did lose your temper and you were responsible for those?
No. You couldn't hurt another person if you tried. I'm serious. You cannot hurt a person even if your intention is. For example, hurt me. Go ahead, hurt me.
Well, this is all good in the academic, but it doesn't work in the real world.
Yes. And if I hear what you said, I would be hurt. But that would be my choice to hear what you said rather than what I was hearing was in your heart. If I hear what's in your heart, I'm not going to get hurt by that. I'll see an opportunity to learn something precious from it.
Yeah, but what if I lose my temper with my kid who doesn't have the maturity to separate my action?
He's still responsible for taking it as he does, technically responsible, but you are responsible for saying what you did. Especially if you know that he's a child that may not have giraffe ears, you're responsible for why you would say that, given that you have a pretty good prediction he's going to hear it with jackal ears. But the child is still the only one to control how he takes it. It was still his actions, his hearing it and believing it, that's the cause of his pain. We can show 3, 4, 5-year-olds how to deal with a father like that.
Well, when is my internal jackal just good superego to realize that I should be more sensitive to my kids' natural immaturity to take something?
That's the responsibility I'd like you to be looking at. So I'd like you to look at then why you are not changing your behavior. And then I'll work with the child in showing him what he can do even if you don't change. I don't want him to think that his security rests on whether you change or not. Yeah, and incidentally, I recently in Ojai, California, taught how to do this. We were dealing with how to hear jackal messages with giraffe ears, and I dealt with 5 groups in one day. The first group were the students aged 6 to 9, the next group 10 to 13, the next group 14 to 18. The fourth group I dealt with were the teachers, and the last group were the parents in the evening. The 6-year-olds got it real quick. The teachers, even though they had been with the students when I did it with them, they still had a heck of a time with it.
Because the kids had less programming to unlearn.
Exactly, exactly. Fewer words being trained to hear criticism as criticism. You see, but if you can train them real quick, never hear what an adult thinks. You'll live longer. And you'll learn more from them, you see, than if you hear what they think. It's toxic if your parents or your teachers have been educated to speak jackal. It's toxic to hear what they think. Yes.
Are apologies out of the question then?
Apologies are not possible because apologies are based on the premise that somebody did something wrong.
So rather than apologize, you say
You
you
mourn.
regret your behavior?
Yes,
or
you mourn sincerely. You mourn not that you did something wrong, but that you didn't meet your own needs. Everything that every human being has ever done is out of holy purposes to make life more wonderful. Now, sometimes our actions fulfill our needs to make life more wonderful, and sometimes they don't. So we need to celebrate when they do and mourn when they don't. And any kind of self-blame will interfere with the learning. No, so giraffe mourning, it would sound something like, I was about to do some giraffe mourning, but we didn't stay in the role long enough. If I had been in your place, I might have mourned this way. I might have first of all wanted to celebrate and say how touched I was that you, given how vulnerable you feel, that you shared so much of yourself with me just now, and I can't think of a more precious gift that I could have received. And I'm sad right now because I would have liked to have been much more sensitive to your pain than I was. See, I didn't do anything wrong, but it would have been much easier for me to hate myself in one respect, because I'm so used to that. We get so trained to hate ourselves in a jackal world. But to really mourn requires going more deeply into myself. It's in many respects more scary to see just how sad I am, how I would have liked to have been more aware. But the other person won't have to pay for that, but they'll have to pay for it if I apologize, because they're a stimulus now for my guilt, shame. And every time a person is a stimulus for our apology, they're going to pay for it. Because to whatever degree they are a stimulus for what makes me apologize, I'm going to have it harder to give to them out of a good energy in the future. There'll be a part of me that's giving to avoid the judgment that I agreed with.
This is an incredible miracle because one of the things in this period that I felt so stuck with is I have felt so stuck with constantly this sense of this energy in the space of being blamed and feeling guilty and not being able to be free of something kind of hovering over me in my inability to have communication, intimate communication effectively. So I really appreciate that distinction very much. It's kind of a doorway to freedom. Finally stop blaming myself about it.
Be careful about the objective of stop blaming. So you never set an objective to get rid of something.
Well, when I
Always
blame myself,
set your objectives to what you want to do differently that will be more effective and less costly. Never try to get rid of something.
how about I have an opportunity to learn and grow from everything I do every day, and it's
Now
a
we're
new
getting
opportunity.
it. Now we're getting it. Now
It's a
every
new
time I do something that doesn't meet my needs,
Uh-huh.
I want to use it as an opportunity to grow and learn. Now you can put the negative in there rather than to beat myself up. But the main thing we need to do is to get clear what the new option is.
Mhm.
I learned this the hard way many years ago. I put this in the workshop. It was during the Vietnam War, and I was on the television debating the war with an editor of one of the local newspapers in St. Louis. And this was taped, videotaped, so I could go home and watch it later on, you see, in the evening. So I'm watching myself now, and oh my God, there I am doing everything I can't stand when other people do it in a debate. I'm the total jackal, if ever you've seen one. Oh, it was painful to watch, but I said, okay, if the next time I'm in that situation, I don't want to do A, I don't want to do B, I don't want to do C, okay? Now, apparently people like these kind of blood-curdling things because they got a lot of listener reaction, and I was invited to continue the debate with him. People love violence, you see, so I was invited back to continue the debate the next week. They had a lot of listener reaction to this. So the next week, though, I'm going to now be a good giraffe. So all the way down to the television studio, I'm saying, now remember, don't do A, don't do B, don't do C, don't do A, don't do B, don't do C. The program starts, and he comes at me the way he had the previous week. And for 10 seconds, I was beautiful. I didn't do A, I didn't do B, I didn't do C. I just stood there like this. And can you guess what I did after 10 seconds? A, B, and C, and I made up for the lost 10 seconds, you see. And that taught me, it's not enough to get clear what I don't want. In those situations, I have to get crystal clear what I want to do instead that's more likely to get my needs met and create less problems. Yes?
Just for my own clarity, when you say, you're not responsible for what something happens to somebody else, you're not talking physically. In other words, if you beat someone up, they're not responsible for having a broken arm.
Well, even there, technically, if we want to get real philosophical about it, I'm still responsible for my actions.
Right.
And nature is responsible for the other person's death.
But you wouldn't say that the other person is responsible for the other person's death.
Not for their death.
Because you're saying in the other case, on a verbal level, that we are responsible for our own pain if somebody says something nasty to us and we take it in. But you wouldn't say the same thing if somebody, cuts our stomach open.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see, and this would come so powerful to you if you followed me around in my work, when you see, like I have a friend from Rwanda who was hiding underneath the sink and heard her 3 children being killed, her husband, her brother, and for 11 days she survived by hiding underneath there because the people who killed them stayed in the house, so she had to sneak out at night to get a little water to survive and get back underneath there. And then each day they would celebrate, she would hear them celebrating how they killed the people. Now, I know this woman very, very well, and she's never been angry. She hasn't repressed any anger, you see? Now, I can get ready to kill somebody who's taking too long in the checkout line of the grocery store, you see? So you can't make somebody angry even if you kill their families. It's how we look at it. Now, this woman looked at it in a way that created great pain. I would call it natural pain. She suffered immensely, but the way she looked at it, the kind of pain she felt, has led her to unceasing efforts to prevent this happening to anybody else. And why did she originally come into my workshops with such a giraffe orientation to the world? Because she wasn't knowing how to deal with other people from her own tribe who had similar things that hate her, because she's working for reconciliation rather than wanting to gain vengeance, you see? So the majority of the people in her tribe had similar things happen. They have such rage. All they can do is live for the day when they're going to get revenge. And all of her energy is going into preventing this happen to other people. What stimulus could more powerful than that? Your family being killed. Even that can't make us feel anything. It's how we react to it.